Why don't the Jets want to do Hard Knocks, Damien? Why?
I don't know, Rich. I mean, like honestly, I thought I had to listen when we did it back in 2010. It was a blast. It really was, man. It was obviously we had a lot of juicy storylines with Reeves' holdout and all the different characters and personalities we had on the team. But the one thing that Rick talked about was, man, if we're going to do it, let's go all the way with it. Let's have some fun with it. We did all types of crazy stuff, shake weights and all pranks and you had everything in there, man. And so I think sometimes these guys, I know there's a lot of pressure on the Jets this year, and you're acquiring Aaron Rodgers, and everybody wants to be, kind of buckled up and everything. But this is an opportunity, man, to kind of expose and let everybody see what this organization is really all about. And so just embrace it and have fun with it.
Well, I mean, they made the splashiest splash of the offseason, if not the last few off seasons, and I understand what happened the previous offseason with Tyreek Hill going to the Dolphins and Devontae Adams going to the Raiders, even though Rodgers did return to Green Bay. But this is as big as it gets. And there won't be a situation where an NFL films camera is in front of Rodgers and he says, turn it off. And the guy or lady holding the camera says, tough. So you want to go ahead and lay out for those listening and watching right now, what is it like to be on Hard Knocks, Damien?
Yeah, man. Listen, I think first of all, the people at NFL Films, they're the best in the business. They do a really good job of kind of blending in behind the scenes and making you feel really uncomfortable. And they're not going to ask you to do anything that you're really not comfortable doing. That's the thing that a lot of people need to understand about this. They're very accommodating. They understand that you're in training camp and you're in a grind and all those type of things. So, when they do request to talk to you and some players are going to get it more than others. They're very conscientious of your time and you going about your business. So it's a pretty cool environment. They stay behind the scenes, do their thing, and ultimately when the product comes out, man, it's really cool. I mean, it's really cool, man. So again, I had a great time with it, and I know a lot of other guys on the team did as well.
And as you mentioned, when the Jets were on Hard Knocks, Revis was holding out, and I do remember that was pretty damn awkward. And certainly from a fan's point of view, watching it, infuriating. And so with the news yesterday that the Jets signed Quinnen Williams and that he's as happy as Rodgers, that's huge, Damien. That was huge to check that box.
Yeah, man, it's huge for a variety of reasons. Number one, obviously you don't have the awkwardness of not having, Quinn locked up long term. If that situation hadn't played itself out the way it did, he would have been one of them what's it called, like a lock in, what guys do now. That it would have been a situation like that. But now all of that is off the table. You got your best player signed to a long term deal. And by the way, I think this is like the first time in I don't know how long with the Jets where they had a first round guy, homegrown talent, to move to sign to a second contract, which is big for the Jets organization. So you don't have to worry about that distraction moving forward.
Damien Woody from ESPN here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, so the one thing that concerns me about how it's not going to work out is that line up front, because nobody talks about that. We're all talking about Rodgers and how he got a lot of the receivers that he's familiar with and happy with, and Breece Hall coming back. Nobody talks about that line up front. Obviously, you can, so go for it. What's going on there, do you think?
Well, I think that's the biggest question mark with the Jets, to be honest with you, is the offensive line. I think, the one thing, it's not for a lack of resources. I think Joe Douglas since he's become the general manager of the Jets, he's poured a lot of resources into the offensive line. I think they got a lot more depth than they did last year, but they got some question marks, particularly at the offensive tackle position. You got 38-year-old Dwayne Brown, who's coming back off a torn rotator cuff. So, at that age, you got to wonder, can he hold up for 17 games this year? And then, obviously, Makai Beckner, who's, the former first-round pick, Joe Douglas's, first, pick as a general manager, he's missed basically 2 years of football. He's in great shape, by the way. He's in terrific shape, but anytime you've missed 2 years of football, there's a big question mark. So, those are the things that that's going to bear watching. I think that's the biggest story in training camp is the offensive line. I know it's not the sexiest thing, but it's the thing that's most relevant as it relates to the New York Jets.
Well, in terms of two words that aren't usually associated with the Jets, few holes. Two words that aren't normally associated with Beckton, great shape. What do you mean by great shape? Is he truly in great shape? Is that actually
yes,
occurred? Okay.
Yes, he's in great shape. He really is. He's rededicated himself. Obviously, he missed 2 years and of not playing football, and on top of that, they didn't exercise his 5th-year option, so he's in a contract year. And so, he basically changed everything. Rich, he's lost 60-plus pounds. Like, he's just completely transformed his body. He looks really good. Now the next thing is you got to go out there and do it with the pads on. Anyone can look good in underwear football. Now you got to go out there with when you got to go out and move 300-pound men. That's the next step in this whole thing with Makai Beckner. So hopefully he gets that done.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.